you to bear with me because my air conditioning is on. You might be hearing that hum. It is still hot, so I need to have that on. You might also hear my neighbors. I think there were some squirrels fighting outside. But we'll see. I hope it was squirrels. I don't know what's going on. I'm also realizing now that there's nothing on the screen. Maybe this will help for now, since I'm not showing my face. I won't do this like the whole time. Anyway, I wanted to come at y'all with just a little tutorial on something that I'm doing as a little part of my fall decor. And so I'm basing it off of this. I got this last year at Hobby Lobby. It's an ornament. And so it's just a fake cute little cake. I can tell there's like some sort of foam under it and it's kind of squishy. And I just have always thought this was super cute. I'm obsessed with fake food. I have like little pieces around my apartment just because I don't know, I like the look of it, especially just as a decor item. And so I want to try to recreate this. And so one thing that we're gonna be doing is pretty much just creating this little cake just for funsies. I mean, why not? We used to play dress up, or maybe I just played dress up. I don't know about your life, but when I was little, I did play dress up. I loved having the tea sets and the little fake food sets, and I just went all out. So I wanted to have a little piece here. I'm gonna call this maybe a fall cake, kind of based off of the idea of a Victorian soul cake. Just this cute little cake that I can have as decor in the apartment. And so what we're gonna use is literally, for a base, we can use just a cheap little sponge. I got this for like $2 at Walmart. If you don't want the sponge, I would definitely recommend maybe instead getting one of those faux cake displays. Usually it's made out of foam, or it's made out of the florist foam, so it's like kind of a denser foam. They come in squares and circles, and then of course Hobby Lobby has a lot of the little foams that are circular like this. I wanted a sponge just because I'm tempted to cut this, and I think it'd be really cute if on the inside it looked like cake as well. So we've got our sponge. At least for me, I'll be using a sponge. It might be easier to use foam. I have a giant thing of Spackle. I already regret having gotten this Spackle just because it is a very large container, but also they had a tube that you could use. And with the tube, you're gonna be able to do these cute little icing designs, whereas what I created last night just to sort of start it off is not the smoothest, but I think that kind of helps create a nice little rustic style. So we've got our Spackle here. And then of course, you need like a scraper to go ahead and handle that Spackle. You also want gloves. I do not have gloves, so you're just gonna see me using a literal plastic bag. I also got some more little florals from Walmart. They just kind of look like that. I got some little gold ones that I had left over from Hobby Lobby. And then also, for those who are interested, I do have different paints. These are gold. I have one that's kind of an off-white. The cake that I made last night is incredibly white to the point that it almost actually looks like I tried to make a fake brie, which I mean, I guess isn't a problem, but that wasn't what I was going for. And so you might want to add a little color. I wouldn't recommend using a paintbrush just because that might be too much targeted color. If you want it to look more like frosting, I don't know if you can blend it into the Spackle. This Spackle in particular changes color, so I don't know if it would do anything as far as helping you out. So it would be something you'd have to do once it hardens. And then I've got this. It's covered in brown because I painted my cake brown. I wanted it to look kind of rustic. So we'll be doing that as well. You could of course skip this step if you just want it to look like a vanilla cake. I wanted mine to look chocolatey, so let's do. So you could go ahead and kind of, like I said, paint the outside of this as you can see I did the other day. I guess it kind of depends on what you're going for. If you wanted it to look like a rustic cake that is really popular nowadays, where you can see the exposed cake underneath the frosting, you might want to go ahead and just coat this in brown. For the purpose of this tutorial, just to kind of help speed things up, I'm not going to do this time. I did it with my other one, even though you can't quite see it when I show you. But you could definitely go and get like a nice chocolatey brown paint to kind of make it look like a cooked cake as far as the sponge is concerned. And so we're gonna get into this Spackle. And so as you can see, it's like super pink, which is really good because, oh my gosh, why? Oh, why? This is why you wear gloves. Okay. So as you can see, it's bright pink, and it's going to turn into this white color after it sets and settles. In fact, you might be able to see just a little bit around here too. And we're really just literally icing a sponge. Like, there's not much to it. I'm gonna hold it like this, just because, like I said, I don't have gloves. I don't want to get this spackle on my nails. That would be too much. And so you're literally just gonna handle this like you would a cake. It pretty much does the same thing. Like, if you just saw that, some of the sponge wants to lift like you would if you've ever iced a cake. And so you kind of want to start with creating that thin base layer. As far as warming the stuff up, it's pretty difficult, honestly, to warm up. I'm sure those of you who are super crafty and have handled spackle before, or not even crafty, just like if you've done work around your home or something like that, those of you who have been around spackle can understand, or maybe you have some tricks that you have up your sleeve to kind of warm the spackle. I would not recommend putting this in your microwave or putting this on any sort of heat source. Let's just try to be safe and just figure it out as best we can. And so I'm literally just making a thin layer first, and then I'll go ahead and smooth it out kind of like I am right here. So now here is our finished little rustic cake. You, of course, can make it as neat as you want. I don't mind looking a little rough. I look like that 24/7, so my cake can follow in my footsteps. Anyway, this is what I've got going on. This is what I would consider a nice crumb coat. One beneficial thing about having the tube of spackle is you could do all kinds of maybe cute little designs around here to make it look more like the original. You could probably do this little frosting style here that you see, and you could do that all around the edge. Of course, there's no turning back for me now, so this is what I've got going on. And so you are going to want this to go ahead and cure. Well, I guess not technically cure. It would just dry overnight because it does need to harden and it needs to go fully white. And so for the purposes of the tutorial, I went ahead and started one, like I said, last night. And this is the one where I was saying it looks like a brie. Like, I accidentally was like, I'm gonna make a fake cheese, and this is it. So as you can see, it hardens. Here's our sponge underneath. It is very crumbly. So if there's a way to avoid that, I'm not sure of it. Maybe spraying something down. That's actually really fun to pat. Spraying something down, or you could avoid the edges I made. I really wanted to kind of go for a rough edge cake, and unfortunately that's where, of course, the look of brie, I guess, is coming from. But it does look very frostingy. And then, of course, I'm gonna go ahead and paint this just a nice little off-white color. And I believe it should all be hardened. I do see just a little bit of pink now that I'm holding it in a different light. So you might need yours to cure a little longer than a day. I think it's going to be ultimately up to you. I like the way this looks. I'm very excited about painting it, and I really want to just get that started just to go ahead and be creative. And so I'm going to take my off-white, and I'm going to use a sponge brush because I don't want it to look painted. I know obviously I'm painting it, but I really would prefer it to look as much like frosting as possible. Okay, so I've taken a bit of a liking to blending just a dash of, you can literally see it, a literal dash of the brown paint with this off-white, and it's giving me this nice kind of toasty brown look. Of course, this is looking more and more like an actual brie. But it is also looking a little charming. I'm gonna keep blending. This is literally just a makeup tutorial for a fake cake. I don't know what's going on anymore. But I'm gonna keep blending and keep just doing what I'm doing until I've got a color that I really dig. I recommend you do the same. And so now we're gonna get to decorate. As you can see, here is the gradient. And here's that finished product. There is some sponge over here. That's kind of funny. And I really do like how this turned out. I think it's adorable. I know some people are gonna find this super tacky, and I mean, it is what it is. And of course, if you have pets, you want to put this somewhere where they can't get to it, or maybe just in general, maybe just try to avoid creating this. I would hate to find out any cats or dogs or just animals in general started chewing on this, especially since it smells interesting. So I also came up with another idea. I'm gonna be taking one of my favorite fall themed sprays. It's just essential oils from this little company here in Texas, and it's autumn themed. So it's clove, it's apple, it's a little spicy in general. I'm gonna be adding some of the spray to the sponge portion of my cake just to kind of have a little oomph to my cake. I think it would be really nice if it had a little bit of a scent throw. I think that's kind of cute. And of course, it might help with the general shrimpy spackle smell. I'm so sorry, I keep smacking my lips like that. That just drives me insane. I'm so sorry. And then if that doesn't work out, I do have some clove oil. I might just be adding a couple drops to the sponge portion, and I'm gonna set this, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of stage it somewhere here in the apartment. I'll try to find a good area. I am still decorating, so you more than likely will see the cake in one of my scenes. And yeah, I smacked again, I'm so sorry. So, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope I didn't bore you. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. And I hope you get a kick out of doing something a little creative and a little different, and just have fun with it. If you decide you want to make a chocolate cake, a golden cake, you do you. See you next time. You turn oranges to orange juice, enter that and spit it out of you. Your body isn't perfectly perfect. Everyone wants what the other one's working. Oh no, not orange juice. Oh, Jay. Oh, Jay.